As you can tell by my voice, I am white. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, you can like, share, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Crank along. We're on episode 5 of the new Saved by the Bell reboot on Peacock. And this episode probably is going to feel familiar to any uh, old school Saved by the Bell fans. They pick a scheme that we are used to, that we've seen before done, and it's interesting. We always get that feeling when you're kids that you're doing things that your parents would never know, or that the older folks would never know that they've never done. This episode is the quintessential. We've been there, we've done that. Probably done it better or worse, but we've done what you're doing. So why is it the biggest callback? I think we were all sort of waiting for. We've seen the trailers, and you have Jesse. You sort of play on it. The caffeine pills come into play, and she is a narc on these caffeine pills. You know, it gets you get so excited, and then you get so scared. And we get a full on play into all of that. And in doing so, Jesse winds up in a way being sort of Daisy's mentor or surrogate mentor or counselor, if you will. And while doing that, Jesse explains to Daisy that she would be perfect for this mentoring program that exists over the summer in New York. And Daisy has a hard time coming to grips with she wants to do it, but she doesn't think that her mother will allow for her to do it because her mother is very dependent on having Daisy around to help raise her younger brother. And so she is conflicted. While she really wants to go, she doesn't know if it's something that her parent will actually approve of. So instead of this wouldn't be a Saved by the Bell if you did it this way. Instead of just going right to her parents and saying, "Hey, this is where it is and this is where I stand. Can we discuss this?" She goes to Mac, who is the heir to Zach Morris and Lexi. And they both come up with a scheme among schemes. And it's funny because they go sort of down the Rolodex of these old plans or master schemes, a lot of which you'll know. If you're in Saved by the Bell history, you'll know a couple of them. Um, but one of them is the Giraffe Gambit. And this Giraffe one, if you know, is where they hire an actress to replace Daisy's mom so that she could speak to Jesse and then get her out of the office so Daisy can make a call to Daisy's actual mom so that they never actually interact with each other and everyone is safe. They can get the stuff signed that they need to, they can get the permission slip signed that they need to, and everything will be okay and no one will be the wiser. So comedy of errors ensues. You know how these goes. You've seen in the Saved by the Bell episodes. You know that this plan does not work. But actually, what's funny here, for the most part, it does. They get everything. They hire an actress that is sort of recognizable to Jesse. It's a bit of a play on why that is. There's some funny jokes with Lexi, Mac, and Daisy going through the setup process and picking the actresses. Won't ruin those jokes, but it's fun. But Daisy actually ends up on the phone with her mom. Everything is copacetic. Everything works. Even though she goes out of her way almost to try to ruin it all, though. By the way, you can tell I'm white, like I said at the top. But she ends up stuck under the desk when Jesse comes back in, and this is the first time. I'll mention this in a bit. It's the first time that we hear Jesse's uh, phone calls with her significant other, but she's under the table and she's just stuck there, and nothing you can do about it. She's like, "Ah, crap." Here we go. And then the call ends, and Jesse gets up. Looks like she might have a way out because you do hear the door to the office close. And you think she's free. So she stands up, boom. Jesse's still in the office. She's just sitting on the couch as opposed to her desk, and now she's caught. Jesse, because they have gone through this entire process and I believe she played Zach's mom. Um, uh, she knows this game. She knows this game that they're playing. She's like, and she doesn't really get angry or blow up the spot. She just wants to know why you're doing it, which is which is interesting because I think had that been anybody else, they would have acted differently. But because Jesse had done this before, there was some type of knowledge. It's like I just need to know the why before we go into the yeah. And she explained to her the whole situation. Jesse says, "Just talk to your mother. Like all these games, all this stuff. At the end of the day, you're still going to need to talk to your mother to just tell her what you want and what you want to do." And she does. She goes and talks to her mom, and her mom's like, "Babe, if that's what you want to do, we'll figure it out. We'll get it done." In a roundabout way, she's like, "I have more faith in you. You will be the one that's chosen to actually go do stuff. Your brother, he's a waste." um, so that's sort of the story A with Daisy and the big all to do with the old scheme of Mac and Lexi. That's where all those characters go. A B story that is happening is Jamie is sort of getting upset with the fact that the football team she's on, is quite okay with losing 179 to nothing, just getting waxed all the time. And there are these speeches that Jamie is the captain of the team. He gives these speeches that is a man who was all in his feelings. And you start to kind of just be like, whoa, like I said earlier video, one, who the hell is his father? We'll get into that in a moment. But you're like, this guy is leading his team to the fact that they are celebrating the other guy's birthday on the other team. They're lifting him up. It's just, it's funny how it happens, but it shows you how okay with losing they have and how much of a different mentality that Aisha has coming from a school or a life where she always has to fight and there's always some aggressiveness to it. So to the point that she goes to AC and they try to talk and like, hey, I need them to get riled up. I need them to fight for something. And AC's like, I know, I can't do it. You may need to do it. I don't know how we get that done. They come up with a scheme because they realize that Jamie gets upset when they figure out the trigger that gets Jamie upset and gets Jamie riled up. So they use that to their advantage, and they set up this whole elaborate scheme in the locker room that does work. It gets Jamie riled up, he gets the team fired up, and they go out there and still lose. But not by 179 to 0, they lose by 7. And so the team is happy. AC's even happy because it just has shown improvement. But because Aisha has had it beat into her family, and this is something that black people folks can definitely understand, you have to be the best. You have to be perfect. You can't be a quote unquote loser. Pizza is for winners. She is still sulking and sullen. And so she storms out of the locker room, and AC has to go meet her and kind of just tell her, hey, it's it has been an improvement. Like you are doing something for this team that I could not have done. I have not been able to do in the last 15 years. So you should take that as a win and go enjoy with the rest of the team. And she does. AC thinks she should have pizza with her because you can tell, again, to play back before, he is still a very lonely, lonely man. And so that leads to the C story, which is AC and Jesse. Kind of go back to what I was saying before. Jesse got on a phone call, and we see that her husband Renee is one of the otherworldly, ethereal, super into your feelings type of folks who go on these type of retreats. Now you can see where Jamie gets it from, and he's not going to be back for a while. You can tell that there's some sort of Jesse doesn't like that. Jesse wants someone who's around to be around for Jamie and be around for her, but he's still off gallivanting and finding himself. So while she's resting on the couch after Daisy leaves, AC comes in after his talk with Aisha on the football field with the pizza that he had that he's trying to offer and shares it with Jesse. It's interesting because this is the first time you sort of see that they both still have some chemistry together, but AC is really still very much in love with Jesse. Jesse has some feelings, but because she's married, because she's in a relationship, because she's a mother, a lot of that stuff is kind of walled off. But you can tell that there's something there. But all in all, you realize that, yeah, no matter what, she has a family and he's very, very much alone. So you end up with this series that's putting us in a box where AC just keeps getting beat up on and ragged on and kind of like super alone, hasn't aged in a decade, 2 decades, but alone, which sucks. But that's it for episode 5, Rent a Mom. Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments on the episode below. If you haven't, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. I will be back later today with my review and recap of episode 6. Till then, like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.